In a world where every Rob, Steve, and Lane has a podcast, two good brothers will try to rise above the rest. Howard Blues and the Mark Kidder invite you to pour a cold beverage, pull up a seat, and enjoy time with friends. Welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Beer, Blues, and BS, the podcast that made the Kessel Run in 4 parsecs. I'm your host, Howard Blues, here, as always, with my co-host, the man, the myth, the guy who's live on location, the legend, the Mark Kidder. Kidder, how you doing this fine morning?
Jaco, yes, this morning where you are, I'm coming to you late night. It's almost, I say almost, the time that we would normally be doing this on the show, because here, well, it's only 11:30. There, well, it's almost 1:30. It is what it is, right? I've been having a good time down here at the Kahnnn, because, I mean, that's, what needs to be had at the con. So ultimately, at this point of the day, just got back from an event. We'll end up talking about that. We got a couple things that we need to talk about first, like our website, beerbluesbs.com, the place that you can go to find everything about Beer, Blues, and BS, this show, plus our merch, buying us a beer, everything there, all the info, beerbluesbs.com. That's, number one. Number two, the question of how are you doing, Howard Blues, as I see you painting away on a quality project, as it were.
Yeah. I saw I missed a spot, so I was just fixing that. I'm doing all right, Kidder. It's it's been a week. Again?
See.
Well, I mean, as always, but I had to travel quite a bit for work. On Tuesday, I was helping cover the Welk Homestead site. So we had a bus tour coming in, and normally the site was closed. So me and IPA Rob went down and ran the site. He did the tour. I ran the cash register, sold some merch and such, but had a decent time there. And then
sounds like we need to get that arrangement on this show so we can sell some merch. Get IPA Rob involved. When did IPA Rob last buy something? Because I don't know if he's purchased one of our classic pint glasses that he could put a tasty IPA in.
Yeah, I don't think he has either. Let's see. And then Wednesday, I got to get up at 4:45 in the morning so that I could travel up to Williston to Mysick and Fort Buford, because we're looking to get some internet trenched in. And that meant we had to meet with NDIT on site, and they had a guy who was up there, and he said, you know what? I got some other places to be. Let's make an 8 a.m. appointment.
No.
So got to travel up there and do that. Which that trip, Kidder, pushed me over 7,000 miles traveled so far this year.
Well traveled.
Yeah. If you want to kind of have like a distance of how far, if I was driving around the circumference of the Earth, I'd be about 30% the way around so far this year. So
wonderful. It's
yeah.
Good. Getting those miles in, frequent flyer.
Yeah. And now, hey, here I am. I'm recording my second episode of the night. That's right. I recorded an episode of Beer, Blues, and BS earlier with a special surprise guest that'll be coming out next week. So I'll tell you this, Kidder. I'll give you this so much as a hint. This is a guest who has never been on the show before. So
it's interesting because you got that shit-eating grin. So it's he's still got it. You just can't see it. I can see it. That's good enough. So, looking forward to the bonus next episode, shall we say?
I wouldn't say it's a bonus. It's just the next episode. Yeah, a full episode. Mm-hmm.
It's just a bonus because I'm not on it.
It'll be the first episode, Kidder, that doesn't feature you. Yeah, you finally missed one. You've been the Iron Man of Beer Blues NBS.
Sounds like we need to work myself in there so I could keep that title, keep the trophy. Because otherwise I'm going to have to start giving out awards. And we know how Future Howard likes when I give out awards. So...
yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. You know what, Kidder, let's get to what's on tap. Because you know what? I do actually have a drink that I am prepared to drink this fine morning.
Is it an old-fashioned?
No, it's the last of these god-awful, shitty Mountain Dew hards that you gave me.
Wonder who gave you those?
You. I just said that. Yeah, this is the black cherry one. I'm not going to go into much detail. I don't have high hopes. So. Yep. That's about what I was expecting. Bit too much of the alcohol taste and a bit too sweet of the aftertaste. So. Although I will say, out of the three you've given me, this one is slightly better than the other two. Like, slightly. Yeah. So
2%, which is lower than the alcohol content that's in there.
Yeah. So, not as good as the first drink I had this evening, which, again, you'll have to tune in next week to find out what I drank. It was good. It was really good. I'll give you this, Kidder. My drink earlier scored a 4.7 on the rating. It was pretty awesome.
And this one that you're tasting now?
I don't know. Slightly better than what I rated the other ones, and I can't even remember what I rated the other ones. So.
You got enough room on the sides for the rating to show up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Kidder, what do you have? Do you have something? Do you have a beverage to consume?
Well, I, at this point, am very much south of the North Dakota border. So, fitting with the theme, earlier this evening, as I preface my what's on tap with what was previously on tap this evening, 2 local beers, one of them called the Mosquito Bite, which has hints of jalapeno and kind of an amber lager almost. It was very interesting to taste because it was a beer that looked somewhat like an amber ale, but it almost tasted like a Bloody Mary or a Clamato. It had that taste profile to it as a beer. So it's very interesting. And then the second beer that I had was a pineapple-infused local beer. Not as good as the first one. Both of them worth a try. Would I have them every day? Probably not. But what I am trying, I believe for the first time ever, not only on this show, but also in general, picked up from the store, is this Pacifico. The Cerveza, por favor. The La Cerveza de Pacifico. This is an imported beer brewed in Mexico. It's 24 fluid ounces, which would be 1 pint and 8 fluid ounces on top of that. Not a whole lot to share on the old can here as we spin it around. But it's 4.4% alcohol per volume per 12 fluid ounces. It's very interesting that they even break it down on top of that. There's 143 calories, 13.6 grams of carbs, 1.1 grams of protein, and no fat. This is brewed in Cahuilla, Nava, Mexico, imported by Crown Imports in Chicago, Illinois. And oh yes, you see on the corner there, that's the Ball Corporation, my friend. The aluminum from the Ball Corporation. Anyway, got the Pounder Plus from the store downstairs. Yeah, that definitely tastes, or smells, I should say, because I haven't tasted it yet, but it smells like a cerveza south of the border. So that does have a nice texture to it, which is between a light, like a light beer, and an amber ale. So it has more flavor than a light beer, but very much less than what you would get out of an amber ale. So that is pretty nice. I could see myself drinking a few of these very cold ones on a beach somewhere. We should do that. Beach. Be nice. Nice beach. Anyway.
Kidder, I was what day was that? Thursday. I stopped up at Cashwise up north to see. I wanted to get the third beer from the Heat Wave pack that I've been talking about since I've been missing it, and they didn't have that available. So I have to probably look at like Willikers to see if they have the third one, so I can complete the horrible Heat Wave pack. But I did see, Kidder, the Oktoberfest beers are out, including one that I was like this close from buying it for you. This close. It's the return of the No, it's actually from the Wasatch Brewery. It's the return of the Black-O-Lantern.
The Black-O-Lantern. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I've had that one on the show. It's pretty terrible. I almost bought it for you. But I did.
For me. What a nice guy. You're so generous. I appreciate your generosity. I'm going to have to say thank you, but no thank you. I do not need any Black-O-Lantern in my life, as my life has enough black and, nastiness floating around it. So thank you for the thought. I appreciate your wanting to give me a what's on tap. I'm going to have to pass on that. That's a hard pass, Howard. Very hard pass. But, today I'm just not feeling that one. So it's good that it's at the store for somebody else to enjoy the Black-O-Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Because, black pumpkins, usually you stay away from them because they're like moldy and stuff. So you stay away from them.
Yeah, chocolate and pumpkin pie, it's not a great combination. So, but for those of you who want to try and who are in the Bismarck area, hey, there's one in the wild. Go get it. You can give it a try and learn how badly you can regret, decisions you make.
If you go for that, should you reevaluate some of the choices you make in life?
Yes, you should.
Okay, I'm glad that we're both on the same page. We usually are, but, we're a few thousand miles away from each other at this point, so got to reconnect a little bit, make sure the diodes are firing, the tubes are still heated correctly, that sort of thing, because the internet is made up of a series of tubes and network. But anyway, let's talk about something more interesting related to what's on tap. I really wish you would have been able to be here for this, because I know you would have enjoyed the experience. There's a place in Bally's. We're staying in Bally's Resort. Behind my left shoulder is the Paris hotel just off screen, which you can't see because it's a sliver between that and Harrah's is the actual Eiffel Tower miniature statue that they have, which is lit and sparkly and whatnot. And then over my right shoulder is the new Hilton Vacations, Grand Vacations. I'm sorry. It says right on the side of the building. They're still working on that, but that some bitch just popped up in about a year. So even since I did this last year, that's pretty much a whole new resort. What else is behind me? Well, there's a couple other casinos, but you can't see the Rio from this angle. Anyway, in Bally's, brand new speakeasy is now open. And as we talked about on this show several times, you know, my love for a fantastic old-fashioned, the classic cocktails, you know, the very traditional menu, if you will, of craft cocktails and a good mixologist. Well, the place, it looks like this. And as you can see, it's the Cabinet of Curiosities. So the cool thing with this is kind of, as you know, a speakeasy, you're saying kind of what it is, but completely unrelated at the same time. On the walls, there's various curiosities. And as part of the curiosities, if you're watching the video version, you can scan, if you're watching, you know, this on a computer, you can scan the QR code for the menu for the drinks on the one side, and on the other side, you can scan it for the actual curiosities, as it were, the catalog, the items that are on the shelves, and the stories behind these items, such as skulls, glasses, etc. The very interesting and a lot of history. So that's in the main part of it. But if you want to have a true experience, you call the locksmith. There's a phone on the wall. Pick that up. You contact the locksmith. Hey, how's it going there? Yeah, you know, there's only water served here. You know what I mean? What's the password? You get a password. You get to go in the door. Then you got to crack the code to get into the speakeasy. Well, what's the code? What is it? You got to look in the safes. There's a bunch of safes around. So you open up the safe, and there's numbers in the safe. And then you put them together, boop, 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 punch in the code. You can open the vault, crawl through the vault, and you end up in a beautiful speakeasy. Now, as you know, the speakeasy, the 510.2 in Bismarck, comparing that to this speakeasy in Las Vegas, which of course has to be top notch. 510.2 has it going on. They have a little bit broader menu for perhaps more of the clientele that would come in, but that menu at 510.2 is on par with what you would get here in Vegas. So again, you go into the lock, which is the speakeasy, as part of the Cabinet of Curiosities, and talking to the locksmith. You get, again, one of the drink coasters and a pen. And then on the back, you can put your name and information on there, but then fill out a flavor profile of things you like, areas you like. So sweet, savory, spicy, or the beach, the mountains, downtown, for instance. And out of these categories, as you make them on the back of this drink coaster, the cocktail waitress takes them over to the mixologist, who then creates a custom cocktail, a one-of-a-kind cocktail specifically for you. So, Howie Blues, if you and I went, and with you and I having very similar taste profiles, we would fill out our cards again on the back, and we would have 2 completely different cocktails. The cool thing about it, the mixologist who is their main mixologist at the lock is the #1 rated mixologist in Las Vegas. So the leading expert on craft cocktails is here, and got to taste his beverages last night. Fantastic. The genius that he has, and appreciation as well, of being able to make a craft cocktail and then share it with you as part of the experience. That's what he loves. The best Sazerac that I've ever had last night here at Bally's in the Lock. It is appointment only, as in reservation only, so you have to go onto their website, thelocklv.com, I believe is what it is, and then make an appointment for that evening or perhaps the next evening, and then you get to go in and have the whole experience for yourself. Either way, you and I could have very similar tastes, but we would get 2 completely separate cocktails. And again, the cool thing about it is he makes them on the spot, off the top of his head, with those flavor profiles. And if you ask him, hey, what was in this cocktail? 20 minutes later, he won't remember, because he made it in the moment specifically for you off of the card that you gave him with that information. And so it's a one-of-a-kind cocktail and an absolute insane experience. So one of the best experiences I've ever had at an alcohol establishment, just sitting and enjoying, listening to music, and having, again, some of the best craft cocktails that I've ever had. And for the record, I quizzed him. Howie, what do you think I quizzed him on?
I mean, yeah, it's clearly got to be what's in an old fashioned.
Weird. It happened to be that very question. And, you know, there's something that was interesting about it, because cherry never came up. There was no cherry in an old fashioned. And, you know, that's kind of weird, because Kidder's approved perfect old fashioned doesn't have any cherry in it. So, I mean, just throwing it out there. And an old fashioned doesn't need cherry in it. No freaking cherry. He also laughed at the shirt design, because it said no freaking cherry on it. So he appreciated it. Either way, great experience. If you end up making it to Las Vegas, please, please, please come to Bally's Resort, make an appointment, and visit the Cabinet of Curiosity, because whether you sit at the front bar, which is open, have their cocktail menu, or make it into the actual speakeasy and that specific menu, a great experience. So kind of a what's on tap, because it's really a long-winded review of last night's experience and enjoyment between the Sazeracs, the old fashions, the custom cocktails, and then their menu cocktails as well. Even when you sit down, you get a complimentary custom, I don't want to call it a shooter, but it's essentially a small cocktail that they serve to everyone. Is kind of a welcome gift. So I gave it a 5 stars review, 5-star review. Fantastic experience again. So if you're in the area, check it out, please. So aside from that, what else is going on down here? You alluded to, I'm on location again in Las Vegas on the Strip. The Kahnnn is going on. Today officially day 2, but our first day visiting the Kahnnn, and some good panels to be able to experience. Again, some of the stories that I have heard before, but even a little bit of a new take on those stories, just because, a year has passed, another year, and they're able to talk more about their experiences. And, well, 20 years, Howard, 20 years since Star Trek Nemesis was released. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Not really, because I happened to be talking to a mutual friend of ours today as I was leaving work, and she had asked if I was planning on attending our 20-year school reunion.
I
told her no.
You just outright no.
Yep, pretty much.
I mean, it is a year away.
Still, I'm not going.
Okay, perfect. I would save a spot for you anyway, and then pour a 40 on the curb for you. if I end up going.
Sure, let them all think that I somehow passed away. Those who even remember me.
Then isn't that? Oh my gosh! Isn't that a better thing? Perhaps then they won't reach out to you and ask for you to come to the 30th and 40th and et cetera, et cetera.
That's okay. Okay. It's one of those things. I don't need to be involved with that. Don't really care. So, but Kidder, tell us more about the con, since you're that's really, that's the more important thing right now than my unwillingness to meet with people who I could care less about.
It still tickles me because I remember the fuss over the 10-year. The interesting thing is there was a photo posted of the graduation photo. And as you remember, we were in the back. Remember that photo? Right up front of the school at whatever dark 30 time it was as the sun was coming up.
I don't, actually, and that's okay.
I remember it like it was yesterday. And the photo, of course, you and I in the very back like we always are. And as you know, wearing the, what would the best word be? My yellow coat, I don't know. It's not famous, that's for sure, but recognizable would definitely be a good word for it. You and I standing in the back there. That photo was posted again online, and I'd kind of forgotten about it for a little bit. But here at the con, it's interesting because this is the first time that I have been to the con at Bally's. They moved it over here this year because of the contract ending at the Rio, and then as a somewhat of a transitional year, they're remodeling the Rio, which I'm very happy for. That, number one, they're not tearing it down, but number two, they're putting a little bit of love back into the Rio. Rio's got a soft spot in my heart. Just their seafood buffet that they used to have was amazing. So I hope the buffets come back again. But again, they're doing some remodeling at the Rio, hopefully some upkeep and making the rooms better. But it's kind of nice to stay at Bally's. The first time I've ever stayed at Bally's. And, the view isn't too bad either. Can't see the Eiffel Tower replica over there. But the convention hall area and vendor's room is almost smaller in a lot of ways, and it's set up very differently and very confusing compared to the Rio. The main convention hall, the main theater, if you will, seems to be more shallow, but a little bit wider, but there's pillars and no extra video screens. So unless you're sitting up close to the front, you're way back, and the video screens are, again, miles away. Have a video of walking into the main theater, up the steps and whatnot. It's kind of interesting to get in there, and not a bad location, but it just isn't the Star Trek Las Vegas con. Maybe because it's been at the Rio forever. I mean, it's just, again, close to my heart, Howard. It's close to my heart. The other thing, the secondary theaters are not located adjacent to the main theater. They're on the 26th floor. So you have to, if you want to go to one of the other events that are happening, go out of the main theater, out and around, up to the elevators, which are way out to the front, and then up to the 26th floor, and then you're at the other theaters. Not convenient if, there's an event that ends at 1:45 and the next one starts at 2 o'clock, right? Just not how it works out. So the view isn't too bad up there, though. So that's something to say. Other than that, the content itself, they're doing a very good job at mixing in content from all of Star Trek, from the original series into the original series movies, to Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise, your favorite 2009, 12 and 14 movies, and then the newer series with Discovery, Lower Decks, and Prodigy. In fact, the best panel, as quickly as they had to go through it, because there were about half of the cast there, the Star Trek Strange New Worlds panel today was very good, very interesting to listen to, as it is technically their first convention as being a panel. Anson Mount and Rebecca Romaine and Ethan Peck, as we've talked about on this show before, they were in previous shows on Star Trek Discovery throughout the season 3. And then on top of that, at previous conventions, because they were on the show and then invited to the conventions to talk about their characters and everything involved, how they became those characters as their audition process, and then where they get their inspiration, et cetera, et cetera. So very interesting to get to listen to now, as we've come 3 years since their first time donning that character. And very interesting to listen to where they get the inspiration from the previous series that's out there, the previous media, and their information. The past characters of where those people came from, like their characters. They're still in Star Trek tradition. So again, interesting to listen to, interesting to watch. The Deep Space Nine panel, superb as always. I have quite the soft spot for Deep Space Nine. Love Deep Space Nine. Wish there was even more of it, but unfortunately, a lot of the other Deep Space Nine actors aren't here or aren't scheduled this year. So hopefully next year there'll be even more of them. But we passed the 25th anniversary of the premiere of Deep Space Nine. And one side note, Avery Brooks, who played Captain Benjamin Sisko, or at the beginning of the series, the Commander Benjamin Sisko. Hopefully he comes back to the series or the conventions. I mean, the series would be great if he came back and played Sisko. As a side note, no real breaking news about upcoming new series or any other information. Really, the things to note is that Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2 is being produced. They're pretty much finished shooting that, so it's in post-production. Star Trek Discovery Season, was it 6 already? 5 or 6? That is in post-production. They're working on that. Star Trek Prodigy is in final post-production and getting ready to air toward the end of this year for the rest of Season 1 and will be continued into Season 2. And Star Trek Lower Decks, the Season 3 began airing on the 25th on Paramount Plus. Lots of Lower Decks cosplay. That's the word I'm looking for, including us earlier today. Let's see. The vendors room, the traditional vendors from the con were in attendance. As I did a walk around, you could see a little bit more of a compact feel of the vendors room. So a little bit disappointing in the fact that it's not as spaced out for people to be able to walk around a little bit more. But again, working with what's available, and it's very understandable. I do have to say, as a shout out to the group at Fan Sets, they make some amazing pins, and that's where we were earlier tonight with the Fan Geeks party. And here is the pin from this year. As each year they come out with a new pin if you attend the Fan Geeks party. This comm badge is the Picard comm badge from Fansets, which is a screen authentic. I've had that for a while, and I'm pretty sure I detailed it on this show earlier. But as I dig into the bag of goodies, let's just quickly go through some of these other fun goodies that we picked up earlier today, including wonderful Fansets and Trek Geeks lanyard, which is kind of a commemorative lanyard because it's, year specific. So that's a nice item. The Quark's bar pin. I happened to see this and needed to get that because love Quark's bar and love Deep Space Nine. In the Future Imperfect timeline, there were these comm badges with the rank insignias behind the Delta shield. Well, this happens to be the Admiral pin. They just came out with these for this year. Also, brand new for the convention is the Bajoran Militia. Take this one out of the bubble wrap so then you can actually see it. This is available only at the convention at the moment. We will be going online soon. So people like Major Kira and Security Chief Odo, of course, wearing that communicator badge on their uniforms. They just released that. Also brand new this year and only available at the con at the moment for Strange New Worlds. Well, yes, they modified the communicator. I shouldn't even say communicators, but the rank insignias. And, well, Fansets came out with the awesome looking updated versions right here. So there's the Strange New Worlds Command Division insignia. And I should mention that all of these are the magnetic versions, which is great if you end up having cosplay because you don't put holes into your your sets that you purchase, your uniforms and those sorts of things. The engineering division or operations, very awesome detail that they put on these. And then the science division as the third in that set is, there you go, there's the science division. Again, the quality that they put, the screen accuracy that they have. If you watch the series and then look for those details, if you're able to see some of the props that are brought in, apparently they turn the lights off. Everybody's got to go home. It's midnight. Lights go off. Anyway, the screen accuracy is just outstanding at what they do, because basically these pins or magnetic insignias that you get are almost 100% screen accurate. So you could, take them onto the set and compare them with the actual props. One other piece that I absolutely love, since Fansets has been a part of the conventions and really been a company, they've made a yearly collectible poker chip for Star Trek Las Vegas, is what it used to be known as. Now it's the 56-year mission this year, since it's the 56th anniversary of Star Trek. They make these limited edition poker chips, and this year featuring Star Trek Lower Decks as Beckett Mariner there playing poker. And this is kind of an Easter egg in of itself in the episode, because she's a command ensign, but in this episode she gets promoted to lieutenant and is in the operations division and wears the gold uniform. The dice also on the side, on the top, equal 2022, and then on the bottom actually equal season 1 episode 4, which is where this takes place. So again, there's very cool things embedded within a simple pin, but just the care that they take in designing these sorts of things is just outstanding. So a big shout out to them, and the big party that they have every year. Again, as I mentioned, part of the Fan Geeks party. Part of that tonight. Fortunately, didn't win any of the door prizes, but next year invited to an invitation-only party where some of the actors and actresses gather and fundraise. Just as a side note, Kenneth Mitchell, if you're familiar with him as an actor, a fantastic actor, over the past few years has been suffering from multiple sclerosis, if I can say that, after having several drinks, and now essentially confined to a wheelchair, medical expenses, those sorts of things. Still a phenomenal actor and a huge Star Trek fan, and an actor within the Star Trek universe in multiple roles. Obviously wish him the best. So raising some money to help out with his medical expenses tonight specifically, and even last night. But that's kind of the con update from this late at night. After we finish this show, going to watch the season 3 premiere episode of Star Trek Lower Decks. Looking forward to that. It's going to be good. Tomorrow, I'll wear the Deep Space Nine / First Contact era uniform, and I'll do an update for you, Howard, I know you love those. You get those, all the videos. He's smirking. He's got the shit-eating grin on his face again right now. You just can't see it. And the lights are back on. Apparently, Paris paid their power bill. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I'm sure you also cannot hear it coming through the microphone on the computer, but the background noise every once in a while, you're a it's the Bellagio fountains that are on the other side of, I should point that way actually, the Bellagio fountains, the huge water show that they have, the fountains going off. That's how loud they are. They echo up and down the strip. And they're actually talking about banning fountain and water shows due to the water crisis out here in Nevada, Arizona, and other areas in the surrounding desert. So it would be a shame because the water shows are amazing, but understandable. Understandable. What do you say to that, Howard Blues? Any of it. As you're painting. Uh-oh. Did you mute yourself?
Yes, I did. I did mute myself. I coughed earlier, and I muted myself for that, and then forgot to turn it back on. I am listening and such. I just also am kind of focused on painting because it's keeping me awake. You know.
I know it's a little bit late. I know. I also, just before we move on and get too far, outside of the topic, have the Mrs. Lanyard right here. And we talked about Badgie last year as part of Lower Decks. And he's so angry. It's kind of like you, Howard, right? No?
I wouldn't say I'm like overly angry.
Worked up. How about that?
I might be tomorrow. Check with me then.
Yes, tomorrow. Then you'll be Badgie. Some of the other pins here. This pin, which I think is very classy, is the Cerritos logo for their bar. They usually call it 10 forward because it's deck 10 forward section. But look at that, the two little olives sticking out of the Kahnnn badge. Very classy. That one was out last year. This one and the next two that I'll show you are new as part of their Women in Trek series, but also just, great pins. This is Beckett Mariner again as part of Star Trek Lower Decks. I mean, look at the quality in the pin. And then here is Tendi, one of the other ensigns in the Lower Decks, and the dog that she created as a companion who eats people. So again, just love the quality of the fan sets, the pins, and what they do to share the Star Trek message. All right. I see that you've been working on something other than painting.
Yeah. Well, if you go way back in, way back, in some of our first episodes, we talked about Mortal Kombat, and I mentioned that I had picked up Mortal Kombat X. Well, while Kidder's at the convention, I had one night where I took the night off from editing and actually finally beat all of the story on there. I had the game, the story mode is broken down into chapters. I think I had 3 chapters left. So one night I just sat down and completed that. So just, I actually got some video gaming in.
That's good.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Was it
So,
good? Was it good?
it was. I knew the story and such, so that's fine. But now that I have it done, guess I get to decide how much I want to try to work my way through the crypt and unlock stuff, or do I just maybe move on to Mortal Kombat 11 and finish the trilogy? We'll see. I don't know. I haven't decided.
I know you're a completionist, so it's got to be one of those push button versus push button things, because do you finish the trilogy or do you finish the game before moving on? Right.
Well, and unlocking everything in the crypt can take a long time because some of it's time based and all that. But some of it's like, hey, here's concept art. It's like, I don't really care about the concept art. So
it's kind of like getting a weapon skin in Modern Warfare, right?
Yeah. So there is valuable stuff or stuff that, like adds to the game hidden in there, but it's like, how much do I want to spend looking for it? And I'm sure I could find a guide that says, hey, look here or here, or be here at this time and such, but yeah, it's kind of like almost too much where I'm just like, yeah, maybe I'll just move on to the next one and finish the story. And yeah, so, but yeah, got that done this week. So that was pretty good achievement. It's not often that I get to play completely through the story of a game and get it done. And I will say, the boss for Mortal Kombat X, far easier than the boss for Mortal Kombat when they did the reboot. That final battle with Shao Kahn, I still haven't beaten it. It's ridiculously tough. So I was kind of happy to get this one done. So,
is there any reason why it's difficult? I mean, is he just overpowered, or does he have some cheesy flaw that completely screws you as a character, or is the game just unbalanced?
It is just, he is such a powerful character and has just the right combos that you have to come up with some pretty cheesy strategies to just hit him enough to beat him. And if he gets a hold of you, it's over. So it's even because the main bad guy in XL is Shinnok, or a corrupted version. And even that, like the first match I had with him, which I lost, he was being really cheesy. He has this move where he just shoots a large amount of flame out of his chest, and it's too long that you can't jump over it, and it fills up too much. You can't duck under it. It's like there's no way to, like, you have to know the character you're playing as, which at that point it's Cassie Cage. You have to know like her teleport moves so that you can, like, when he does that, teleport behind him and hit him. But yeah, I managed to get past that one. But yeah, it's a good story. It's a great story, and I have watched, because you can find where people have done like the cinematic like movies where they've just, it's all of the cut scenes kind of placed together like a movie, and they're an hour and a half long. And I've watched all of those for Mortal Kombat X, and Mortal Kombat 11, and it's actually a pretty decent story. I mean, for a fighting game, it's a good story. It's got a little bit of science fiction in it. It's, a little bit of the supernatural, and it's a good story. I will give them credit, because it's come a long ways from like the original Mortal Kombat, which was, basically Outworld wants to take over Earthrealm, and so Raiden has gathered together some fighters to try to save the day. It's come a long ways. So
I would say I know what you're talking about, but it's been years, and my knowledge of Mortal Kombat is unfortunately very limited. So I'm glad you know, and I'm glad you enjoy, and I'm glad you can kick its ass.
Yeah. Well, let's shift gears, Kidder, to something you might know more about. I know
Controversy?
a lot of controversy. I don't know, Kidder. Like you know me, I kind of barely follow wrestling these days, but it seems like AEW is blowing up in the last 2 weeks and just basically imploding. I don't know if you followed any of this.
There's a lot of weirdness happening. And I say weirdness because it's very uncertain as to what is actually happening behind the scenes. Apparently, just yesterday, as in Thursday, there was an all-staff meeting where everybody was required to be there to get together, talk about things, talk about the direction of the company, what's happening, sponsorships, things they can say, things they can't say, including their partnership with Warner Brothers, which is why they've had the Shark Week stuff, they've had the Game of Thrones stuff, et cetera, and those partnerships have been, I guess, going well, but they want to somewhat get away from the extra shit talking. And that some people who, quote, go into business for themselves are going to get in trouble more than those who are potentially more company-minded and content-minded. So I think that's kind of bizarre because their content, by default, is more edgy, more adult, where they're saying shit and doing those sorts of things. They're bleeding all over the place. They're just destroying each other. You know, that's their thing. So is this partnership with Warner Brothers hampering that development and their niche? I don't think so, but we'll see, right?
Yeah, I mean, really what this seems to kind of stem from is maybe a little bit too much of the loose structure that AEW tends to have. So the first kind of major one that came out was in the controversy involves CM Punk and Adam Page. As we know, they worked a program together that led to CM Punk getting the title. But apparently, what's being reported is that during the run-up to that match, Adam Page cut a promo that basically implied that while CM Punk on screen was this pleasant, company-minded guy and doing all the right things, that behind the scenes, he was a cancer to the locker room. And apparently, this has been bugging CM Punk, bugged him while he was out on injury. And so I think it was last week's Dynamite. CM Punk came out and started with a 2-minute promo on Page and basically called him out. Of course, Page didn't show up because this wasn't in the script. This was CM Punk off script doing this basically to make Adam Page look bad because it made him look like a coward when it was just that he's not scripted. He's not ready to go out. He's not there to go out. He's, so you had that, and it seems like that has apparently divided some of the locker room as people have picked sides there. And then almost in a very similar situation, you had Sammy Guevara cut a promo on Eddie Kingston, basically calling Eddie Kingston fat, which Kingston took offense to, and when he got to gorilla position, he screamed at Sammy and I believe may have laid hands on him. And
they had a all-out fist fight in the back, and He was suspended because of it.
Yep, I was just getting to that. Yep, and he's been suspended from it. So a lot of kind of drama and such that has kind of gone on with people taking offense at different promos and kind of picking sides. You know, there are people who dislike CM Punk. They blame him for Colt Cabana not being on the show anymore and being relegated to Ring of Honor. There's a lot. And so it's interesting to see. And it's I was listening to one commentator tonight, Gitter, who said this is a terrible thing for AEW to be going through right now because WWE is on the rise, and right now AEW seems to be sinking. So it'll be interesting to see what Tony Khan does and what comes out of this all-staff meeting and what we see for attitudes and such, especially as we build to All Out. So it's a lot of stuff going on.
Even on top of all of that you just said with the controversy, on Wednesday of this week, the match, reunification of the AEW World title between CM Punk and Jon Moxley. I've read a couple articles that talk about the information that's been presented both publicly and allegedly in the back. And the thought, apparently, is that they rushed it to push it on Dynamite because CM Punk lost in 2 minutes, which 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Sorry. He had an extra minute of torture and delay. I watched the match and it was stupid. Because obviously I'm a huge CM Punk fan. So I did not like the outcome with CM Punk losing. But I understand Jon Moxley being very popular right now, being a top-tier guy. CM Punk has been out for a while with injury. And they played it off that CM Punk, again, had the injury. So does he still have the injury? Is he still injured? I doubt it, right? Because they rushed him to get back. He pushed himself to get back. But is this punishment for the alleged misconduct or attitude in the back? Right? What is this? Why? So when this comes out, it'll be a week ago, but All Out in Chicago, the pay-per-view for AEW, September 2nd, is now supposed to be, and they haven't quite confirmed it from what I've been able to see at this point of this recording, CM Punk versus Jon Moxley for the AEW World title. So, Howard, my question, why rush it, get a unification match that is 3 minutes long, is trash, and makes it look like CM Punk not only got his ass whipped, but also that he got re-injured. And then 2 weeks later, not even, a week and a half later, they have another match? Like, what does that do, right? I mean, what's the purpose?
The purpose is that it appeases Jon Moxley. So this is classic WWE 50-50 booking. And for what I'm hearing from reports was that Moxley was unhappy with what was supposed to be the outcome or what was planned for All Out, and that he made the suggestion for the unification match to occur this week and such, and that they went with that. So this was them kind of appeasing Moxley in this case, giving him the win, giving him this unified title, but that's why they're still having the match. And such, there may be a stipulation added to the match. We'll see, but that's why they're still having the match. It's caused a lot of people to think that they're doing this so that they can set up Punk versus Page, but that's not the case. This is, this is basically trying to appeal to two top talents to make them both happy, is the report that I'm hearing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens at All Out. Well, you'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll do one of these broadcasts, so then you can watch on your phone as you're running around the house. It'll be about the same quality either way.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh. So, hey, Kidder.
Yeah.
Do you want a hot take?
Absolutely, because you got the hottest takes of them all, Howie Blues.
All of these soda companies that are feeling the need to do 10,000 variations on their soda, they need to just knock that off. Most of these are terrible, but I mean, I've seen like 8 different variations on Mountain Dew. Coke did the Coke Starlight recently, but now there's a Coke Dreamland. They did a Coke Marshmallow tied in with the DJ. There's just too many of these things, Kidder, and even if they're good, they're always limited time. So what's the point in me trying this thing if it's like, oh yeah, this is really awesome, and then you can never get it again? So it's just stupid. I understand why they do it. It's a marketing gimmick. Gets people to buy some more of these. Or in Mountain Dew's case, I think they're just adding new flavors, kind of like they always did with like Code Red and Baja Blast. But I've just seen a lot of them popping up lately, and I don't like it, Kidder. I don't like it.
I've not yet tried the marshmallow version or the Dreamland version. Starlight, not too bad. It varies from person to person of what it tastes like, but to me, in all of the cans and bottles that I've had, it's basically a cherry Coke mixed with some cotton candy is somewhat the general flavor profile. I'd like to try the marshmallow one just to say that I got it over with. And then the Dreamland one, again, to say that I've tried it. And it's content for the show. So there's that.
Yeah.
I kind of agree with what you're saying. I say kind of because I like the ingenuity, the creativeness of having all of these different ones that they're coming out with, the flavors. But yes, hey, I really like this flavor. Now we're getting rid of it, and we'll never have it again. Okay. Mountain Dew Live Wire, the orange one. Fantastic flavor. Is it out there? Sporadically, I think. I haven't seen it in a while. They also had a Modern Warfare 3 edition, which was like a darker green Mountain Dew. That was really good. And I got a shit ton of points for Modern Warfare 3 double XP. Thank you very much. In fact, I maxed. Did you know this? I maxed out the double XP time that you could have from all of those codes. That's how many codes I had entered.
I didn't know you had maxed out, but I did know you had a lot of them. So
yeah, there's a limit. I didn't know there was a limit. I found it. It's a limit. And unfortunately, yeah, it is what it is. But either way, same thing with the flavors. If they're good, I hope they stick around. If they're bad, I hope they go away. And there's just ultimately the deliciousness of a classic Coca-Cola. ice cold Coca-Cola. You just top notch, can't beat it.
Hello, everybody. You heard the glitch. You saw the logo. You know that it means that I am here, Future Howard, interrupting this episode. And really, I'm not interrupting. This was kind of planned. When we filmed this episode, Kidder's in Vegas, I'm here in Bismarck. Because of the time difference, we knew it was going to be a late recording. And we thought we were going to start closer to midnight. We started closer to 1:30. We knew that because it was going to be a late recording and because I have family and family obligations that I have to get up for, we came up with this great plan to have me record a episode earlier in the evening with a special guest who I haven't told Kidder who it is. And I mean, you're all just going to have to wait till next week to find out. And that me and him would get on and record a second episode when he was available that covered the Kahnnn and a few things. So because of that, we knew with that late recording, we were going to go short. And of course, we don't ever here at the Triple B don't ever want to leave you going, gosh, they didn't give us their all. Or I got a less of a show than I'm used to getting. Or where's all of my fun content that I listen to while I get through my regular day? So don't worry, because with all the episodes we've done, this is episode 75. So with all of the episodes that we have recorded, I'm sitting upon hours, mounds and mounds and tons of hours of content. Stuff that we recorded in bits and pieces. And some of it's just cut because sometimes we've recorded too long. So what you're going to get now is a series of clips that have never been seen or played before. There's some stuff with the Flying Foodie. I believe there's some stuff from Kidder's Birthday Bash and a few other things. So some things that were cut due to length are now going to make it into an official show. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And we'll see you back at the end.
He's sitting there. What?
Nothing. Nope. I'm looking at something on your mic. Don't worry about it. It's got a resemblance to something. You're good. Continue with your story. I'll point it out later.
You're gonna do this from your remote studio from now on. So I just saw something interesting that's watching this, that one of our commercials was filmed at. In fact, Howard Blues is in the commercial with Brother Nico. Do you happen to remember that commercial, Brother Nico? With Brother Nico.
The one we filmed in, what was that, Tabula?
Whoa, what are you getting so pepped up for?
Big senior thesis. 20 pages. Doing 14 hours, 30 minutes, and 23 seconds.
Jeez.
How about you?
I got a couple paragraph paper due on, why you should take your clothes home to your parents, let them wash them instead of you doing it in the dorms, for my intro to university living class. Sugar?
Come visit Tabula Coffee House to satisfy all of your finals week preparation needs. Tabula Coffee House, the place to fuel her up. Stop in today and mention this ad and receive half off a double tall mocha. Tabula Coffee House, the place to fuel her up.
Mm-hmm. At the time, it was Tabula Coffee House. Yes. Mr. Foote, you probably remember seeing the coffee house on University Avenue in Grand Forks.
Yeah, I think I remember that one.
Pretty much across from the library.
Yep. Yeah, the one that was that was the one that was connected to the church, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. I was only ever in there the one time when we filmed that commercial.
And you got an empty cup of coffee for it.
I did.
So they have, since our time visiting there, and apparently the service of Howard receiving an empty cup, they have changed owners and names. They're archives now. the Archives Coffee House. Apparently, the summer has been pretty bad for them this year, and they have kind of a plea for help to keep the doors open. So, if you are in and around Grand Forks, if you're passing through Grand Forks, if you would just stop by and at least buy a cup of coffee or a gift card or something like that, and help that place stay open, because it is a nice little corner on campus for students or professors or weary travelers to stop and have a nice hot chocolate or cup of coffee. Just wanted to throw that out. I had a
You don't want to know.
Local geek sent me something. I had to show him. I'm sorry.
That was from back when we were talking about smoking meat.
We were talking about smoking meats, and
I know it was 13 minutes ago, but I just saw it. I had to show him. So I don't want to leave Rude Boy out. So he's gonna get a face full of meat.
I mean, I would have bought it.
Oh,
You know.
and I guess Rude Boy sent me a screenshot that the Cedar Rapids and General North-South line is the 319 area code.
There we go.
So
there we go.
thank you, Rude Boy, for looking into that. And your reward is that you got a face full of meat.
That's one steak.
Thanks for that, son.
I just hope it's not a skirt steak, because it'd probably be more like reaching up a kilt than a skirt.
You get a fistful of meat.
I'll give you a reach up the kilt.
Rude Boy hangs his head in sorrow. The podcast is taking the turn. No, don't dump the shark. Don't jump the shark.
Howard's just gonna be delete.
Yeah, we don't need this shit in there.
We're just
outta
skipping
here.
this section.
We won't include that on the
It'll be the bonus feature.
on the screenshot that advertises the episode.
We'll all be like, and then a big like fistful of meat.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's the key. That's, I think, what we need to start doing a little bit better is marketing on this.
There we go.
It's like the clickbait, right?
Yeah.
What revealing fact will you see tonight? Giant meat right here.
Hot reactions only on the BBB podcast.
B gives you a fistful of meat.
Should I send him that picture with no context and just say episode picture?
Yeah, and then Multiplicities of Mooninites as the title. It wouldn't make sense at all.
I was going to ask a long time ago, Kidder, but do we actually have a playlist for this episode or a set list?
Oh, one of those rundowns?
Yeah.
No, there's no rundown for this episode.
All right.
No.
All right. So this one,
I got the link to the episode. I clicked it and I went.
So this one's just by the cusp of the kilt.
This is I would say fly by night, but we've passed the fly by night stage. This thing is in no man's land. As in, no one's going to watch this, especially to this point. They get 5 minutes in. What the f*** is this?
Hey, now.
I'm sorry, Howard. I'm sorry.
This is a family-friendly.
That's what we have Howard for. He bleeps everything. Or just cuts this whole section out.
There's
this
that
part doesn't need to be in there. We're just done with this.
There's that.
This is there. But... Because I think you were there that night too. We ended up.
Was that the WrestleMania night?
I mean, it might have been. I think it moved a TV or the TV out into the common area, and so it was actually in the living room.
Oh,
so we had a TV out there, and we're all hanging out.
Yeah, we had plenty of weird encounters with Toolie. So.
I brought a chick over, and he's trying to impress her.
Oh,
and
impressive.
Here we go.
That's where the quintessential element of every salad is Dorothy Lynch dressing. And we're like, what is wrong with you? Either the stuff he had in the fridge was expired or it just tasted like crap, the flavor that he bought. Because
he was trying to put on airs the whole time. He was doing his best.
He left a bottle in the fridge and I smelled it. I'm like, is this actually good? I'm like, oh, what is this crap? Like, and I put the cap on. I threw that sumbitch in the garbage. I'm like, get that out of here. But he brings his chick over and he's like, check this out. This is pretty sweet. And he shows her the pizzazz, like, oh, you hungry? Yeah, okay. I'll make a pizza. Watch this. And he puts it on the pizzazz. And I mean, I have a pizzazz, right? Like, they are awesome. They are cool because the thing spins, it cooks a pizza. It doesn't take the same amount of energy to heat the oven. It cooks it less time, et cetera, et cetera. Like, they are cool. But for me to, like, bring a girl over and be like, hey, I got a pizzazz. Like, watch this. Just making my pizza. It's like an infrared, and it's like, this is pretty sweet. I'm like, what are you doing? Just made the pizza. And then I just remembered this. The first cut is the most important. It's a circle. If you cut it straight, any cut is the most important. Oh, wow. And you're like, whoops, and you take like a 40-degree slant when you're cutting it. Okay, you have issues. But if you cut it pretty much straight across, the first cut is the first cut, right?
I mean, it's
right?
circle. You only get one.
That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, you cut it like 10% from the right corner. Okay, you screwed it up, right? No, he's in the middle, like, and he cuts it perfectly. So he spins it and like, oh yeah, the second cut almost as important as the first cut. I'm like, what is this guy doing? He's never gonna get laid.
And it was probably a tombstone that he was making.
It was either that or
because Deeks came pre-cut. So
correct. It was a frozen pizza. Yeah. So so it was either a Tombstone or Tostitos.
Tombstone, Tostitos.
Please tell me it was a Tostitos.
So
he as he's, and I'm getting ahead of myself because of the whole cutting part, right? So you like cut it the first time. The first cut's the most important, and we're all like, do we say something? Like you're really? Did you just say that?
You could have at least helped him out.
Like no,
help him out a little bit.
No,
man. Like he needs it once or twice.
He's got it all figured out, and he was huge into guns. So like,
he's a huge one of them. Huh?
I don't want to go all school shooter on him because he's going to be one of those guys. So I want him to do his thing, and then again the second cut right there. But while that's going, again he talks about the salad. And the quintessential element of a salad is a Dorothy Lynch dressing. You know, I don't have anything against Dorothy Lynch dressing, but it makes me never want to buy a bottle of Dorothy Lynch anything, any flavor. So with your recommendation, I'm slightly interested to see what flavor profile it might have, what scent, etc. I'll give them a shot.
I will admit, I do have a bottle of Dorothy Lynch. Their orange sauce is it's good stuff. Okay. It kind of goes with everything.
That's probably not what it was then, because it kind of looked like French dressing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
All right.
Yep, it's the exact same stuff. It's good. It really is. But you know, that fridge is also full of 75 other condiments and bottles of random stuff like yum sauce. You know, that's good stuff too. You gotta be you're eating the right stuff, but yum sauce is good stuff.
It's true. Yeah. Okay.
This took a turn for things that just shouldn't be talked about.
Yeah, I mean, you guys playing Guitar Hero?
No, I'm cool. I'm showing off my super cool watch band tan.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, show it to the camera so people can see. Oh, you can see it from there. Holy crap.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as the farmer's tan.
Ding, diddling, ding, 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 ding.
I have spent a few hours on the tractor this year.
And mind you, him on the tractor.
That's right.
He's got the wheat stalk out the.
I'm slow rolling because the field is so damn rough that it's more like this. Oh,
it's like root bike riding a scooter to work.
Yeah.
This last field that I was haying is the absolute worst part of my year. Every year, nothing tops this. I hate this field. I want to burn it. I got to do something with this because it's absolutely horrible. Usually I mow in third or fourth gear. I'm down in second. Like it takes me 3 times as long to cut 40 acres as it would to normally cut 60 to 80. It's ridiculous. I hate it. I got to do something because I can't do it anymore.
Like a thick.
Yeah.
What can I say? And both of them are like, "Yeah, I'm done."
You guys can jump in anytime. It's
I can't relate.
What? You're in Iowa. You're in farm country.
You have a hand-drawn mowing feature. You push.
Yeah, I've got the Rio mower, but there's a point where the Rio mower goes away and the Honda mower comes out. So.
Oh, so you got the hand. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So he has one of them, their old-timey mowers with the cutting blades and whatnot, like the legitimate push mower. Where
it's getting to be that time because the grass hasn't grown much in the past week and a half. So
it's like the vegan option for lawn mowing.
Your cat is going to town on something or what? Like what the hell is going on down here?
He's got so he likes these little gel toys.
So the little gel hedgehog.
This one's a little hedgehog, and as you can see, he's looking. So you throw it, and he goes and fetches it like a dog. So it's pretty sweet. But yeah, Rude Boy and Brother Will, who has not been on this show, also apparently has one of those where he used on his townhome. He's got a little square of grass, so I mean it takes him 10 minutes to do.
Yeah.
So go get some exercise. Hi. So me, no, not gonna happen. I get out my Toro, I go take the mower to town, I take the grass out to the back and give it the old shellac and get her done. Just like in the video game, the professional Toro motors and mowers.
If I actually cut my lawn, I'd probably be out there for about 4 hours. I don't have that kind of time. So the lawn just stays field grass and whatever. We're good with it. The little bit of like real lawn that I have is now turf, so I never have to mow it. So I'm good with that.
See, at your place, fits in. Absolutely, 100%. Me, I got the city regulations. Are like, your grass has exceeded 12.1 inches and needs to be cut in 3 days. And if you don't cut it, then we're going to charge you $100 per 12 minutes that we do this.
Well, see, if you just put in turf, you'd never have to cut your lawn again.
You know, the turf would be great. I'd save a shit ton of money on the water.
Yeah. We did turf at home. We liked it so much that we now did turf at our business, and we may do turf at the second business as well. It's the greatest thing ever created. I never have to mow. I can take the leaf blower to it and clean it off.
What do you think about that, rude boy?
Like it's great.
definitely an option. I know there's places down in the Southwest that they say new builds, they have to have either a rock lawn or a turf lawn that doesn't require watering. So it's something that, I don't know. I mean, besides fighting the crabgrass that's always wanting to come through about this time of year and all that, but might be a project for tomorrow and go out and spray the crabgrass and pull whatever I can. But
yeah, I'm never going back to like a real lawn again. Screw it. I'm doing turf like that. I've done, the little bit of yard, the nice stuff like in front of the house, inside the concrete curbing that we poured. That's all turf. Everything else is just prairie grass, field, straight. It's going to stay like that.
Sure.
Like my range is all 25 yards of it is all crushed concrete. The rest of it is all just prairie grass that I mow with the big mower behind the tractor.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'm not doing the whole like beautifully manicured lawn. Nope, turf.
I like that, but there's certain turfs where you make it look
I can
like
get
that.
turf that looks like it's the perfect lawn cut, and if I want to stripe it, I just pull out the rake. I can rake it, and it looks just like it's mowed. Yeah,
Gonna have to do that. I do have to say that with Local Geek and their street reconstruction last year and how they ripped up, I don't know, a quarter of his lawn, maybe that's an option.
the mother.
Right?
It could be. They sure didn't do a very good job of reseeding what they tore up.
They never do.
Well,
Yeah, keep Sterling off of the other dog's food. So
Sterling, get off the other dogs. Sterling. I'm sure. Well, I hope that he heard that because, it's been 2 months since he heard me. But, all right. I'm sure we can do something.
I mean, I'm sure we'll think of things, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. Like, as I was trying to put Junior down tonight, it's like I was trying to think of like, okay, what can we talk about on the show? And I don't know. I was struggling with like, I don't really like not to. I feel like we've talked about some of the same things over and over again. So it's just like Halo sucks. Got it. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is pretty good. Got it. I don't really care about the Vince McMahon scandal. It's like, whatever.
You don't think it's bringing down the empire? And then the potential of insider trading with Kevin Dunn?
I don't think it's going to change anything. Because even now, like, he is stepped away from the CEO chairman spot, but he still has control of creative. I mean, it's just it's not going to change anything.
Unless ultimately he gets the "you're fired."
You can't fire him though. To fire him, you need a majority vote of the shareholders. Guess who's got the majority of the shares? Vince McMahon. He's not going to vote himself out. So, it's just not going to change anything. So I just don't care.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know. I mean, we should be talking about this on the show, truthfully. I mean, let's be honest. Well, Kidder, I had a visitor today actually stop by my place, and I want to give him a shout out because you might notice this lovely wooden piece up on the shelf behind me.
A visitor to the house, huh?
Yeah. A good friend of mine, his name's Jonah, visited, and Jonah started off as an employee of mine, and we've become very good friends. He's an amazing art fabricator, so he makes professional like cosplay stuff. He actually did art direction for a small independent film that did like the major independent film festival circuit. He has won multiple awards with that. So really cool, really awesome guy. But way back when I taught him the game Suro, which I have sitting there. So he's been playing around with a laser cutter. So he made me a homemade laser cut version of the game Suro. So that's what's up behind me. So really kind of cool piece. Well, the last topic we have on here, it was again just a good one to to touch on, especially since we had Adam on for the first time, is video games. If anybody has been playing anything in the video game world of any interest, because I haven't, not a single thing.
It's almost like you have kids or something that prevent you from having time to play video games.
Yes. I get all of my video games by watching other people play video games on YouTube while the kids eat dinner.
Or this podcast.
So please tell me you guys have been playing something good.
Oh, I've been playing Elden Ring has been taking up a lot of my time because I die a lot. It's a very death and dying difficult game. Not the hardest Dark Souls game that you've ever played, but definitely a difficult one because instead of like a lot of the Dark Souls games, I don't know if you've ever played any of those, it's kind of known for its hardness and the amount of times you die. And it's all the other Dark Souls games are all kind of on a set path. Whereas this new one's more of an open world. So if you hit a boss that you're under leveled for, you just, I'm not going to fight you right now. I'm going to go fight something else, get super powerful, and then I'll come back and kill you. So I've been playing that, and I'm playing a wizard character where I can walk up to a guy and using this, I guess you can call it an exploit, cheat, whatever, but it's designed in the game, so it's not a cheat. So like I can essentially just Kamehameha a boss and just kill him in seconds. It's great. I'm like the most powerful thing ever.
I've seen people play the Dark Souls games, and I don't know, they've never appealed to me. Like the art and such associated with them is gorgeous. It's just, to me, that seems like that would be a game that would be very frustrating. And so, you know what? With what little time I get to play, I'm not going to play something that's going to frustrate me.
So that's kind of why I like this one, and I never really got into the other ones, just because the other ones are exactly like that, where it is just keep hitting your head on a brick wall until finally you manage to get through it. Where this one is like, oh, I can't beat this guy. I'll go somewhere else and beat that guy. So I'll in the little time I have to actually play video games, I'll still feel like I'm progressing a little bit.
Does Howard remember when he tried to sneak by a rat?
Yeah. And you probably haven't heard about this, Adam, but I was, for the long time, I played Morrowind, so part of the Elder Scrolls. And
I'm sorry.
I enjoy a lot of the Elder Scrolls games, like Oblivion, like Skyrim. But if you go back to play Morrowind, if you did not choose fighter, if you decide, hey, I'm going to be magic, or just like a combination of cool things, rats would deadly And so Kidder remembers many an hour of me like sneaking through the wilderness and hoping that rats wouldn't see me because I couldn't even kill a rat in that game.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was hard to be a magic user. Like anything other than a fighter was hard because you start out. That was the one where everything you did, you gain a little bit of level, and so you end up just kind of hopping your way through the world because every hop gives you some more stamina XP.
Yep.
And and you can never hit anything with like I tried to do archery for the same way, and I can never hit anything.
Yeah, it's one of those. Oblivion got a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I think I ended up killing I ended up accidentally killing an NPC in Morrowind and broke the game. So that the typical way you do it. I think I've only been in one Elder Scrolls game. I've only beaten Oblivion because both Morrowind and Skyrim, something happened where either I killed a necessary NPC or there was a glitch and I couldn't progress the main story.
Yeah. I have never finished Oblivion, mostly because, and Kidder knows this, like I go on hot and cold streaks where I can game. And so like I will be like, hey, I'm going to play Oblivion. I want to finish this time. I want to get somewhere. And it's like, but I don't remember where I was with any of my saves or what quests I was working on. So I start a new one. And I'll play for a couple of hours, and then I go on a cold streak, and it's like it maybe a year or two before I pick it back up again. And I'm like, I don't remember where all this stuff was. Well, I'll start over again.
Mm-hmm.
So I have played the opening thing through the tunnel.
The Patrick Stewart cameo?
Yeah, like I have played through that maybe 10, 15 times.
It is so.
That's
flew off from my dreams.
Yeah, but it's a good game, but I would love to sink more time into it, but
I beat Oblivion, and the thing I remember most about it is the way I play Morrowind game or Elder Scrolls games is I'll do everything else until I hit, and then I'll do the main quest. And so by the time I came to the main quest in Oblivion, it's like this boss is the easiest boss ever. Like I just killed him super quick. It's like not even a challenge.
Yeah,
I killed that dragon real quick. Yeah,
I just laughed at Howard because he spent 20 minutes sneaking around a rat, stealth through the bushes, and the rat was like, "The hell?
You did."
And he went all the way back,
mm-hmm.
and he's like, "Motherfucker!" And he almost broke the controller.
The thing about that was you'd start that game and there's a hollow stump where you can get an axe right at the beginning of the game. It's actually a pretty good axe. And I just remember like, it's like that was after like you died to the rat. You just kind of, well, fine, I'll take the axe. I'll be a fighter.
And then he goes back and he's running and there's a rat.
Sneaky time.
Sneaking past him. Oh, okay. I'm far enough past the rat now. And he's running. And then he sees like, oh, there's some people up here. And they're angry at me. I'm not supposed to be here yet because they're 10 levels above me. He turns around and he's running away as they're like throwing stuff at him. And
I did that in a Fallout game once where I accidentally went the wrong way and low level, and I wound up running into a Deathclaw like level 50, and I'm a level 1, and he just smacks me with one hit, and I fly across the level.
You know, it's funny you say that because did you play World of Warcraft?
Yes.
Back in the day? Okay. So I can't remember if this was Howard or if it was somebody else. I think it was you, Howard, because Curtis was playing with us and we hopped on one of the, what do they call the boats to go over to the other continent.
Like the airship or the sailing?
Yeah, the Zeppelins. We hopped on one, and it, you got to wait a little bit for the thing to actually take off, right? And I think Howard it had to have been Howard, and he was being a dick, and he was level, I don't know, 5, and we were level 70. So he's like, come on, I'm gonna take you on, like, fine.
Wasn't me.
No, I swear this was you, because it sounds exactly like something you would do.
I agree. That sounds like Howard.
Nope.
And so I'm like, fine, I will challenge you. And I went into my inventory and swapped my what character? I was the night elf, or the blood elf hunter, because it was the Burning Crusades expansion. So I swapped the bow and arrow for my fishing rod. And as the, flag comes down for the duel, and then it goes, whack! And then he just sits down. Okay.
So speaking about Oblivion fishing rods and destroying things, there's a YouTube channel where this guy, he finds all these exploits in games, and so he literally beats Skyrim with the fishing pole by making it like the most super powered fishing pole you'd ever see, and it through these like this glitch and enchanting, so like does 1 billion points of damage.
Wish I had that in World of Warcraft, because I tried to use it at an instance one and I broke my fishing rod.
I haven't played WoW in forever. I used to go through a phase where I always had I played it at least like once a year, where I started a new character and power leveled up a new character. Or just to scratch that itch. And
I always enjoyed playing WoW. I always hated the subscription side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why they needed to do that to keep the game going and such, but I just don't play enough where it was like, I can't justify paying, whatever it was a month to play.
Yeah, I've run into that a lot. For like, I tried to play Final Fantasy 14, same thing. I'll play it for a little bit. I'll get a subscription for like 3 months, and it's like, oh, no, I got other games I want to play, but I don't want to pay $15 a month for this. So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, $15 a month. I mean, that's a bit pricey, even if you get the deal for $100 for a year.
Mm-hmm.
So then you bring it down to, well, let's just say you pay 10 months and get 2 months free, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like $10 a month, even, like, still a bit much.
Yeah, and I just don't play it enough. There's so many other games I like to play that I just can't justify spending that money for a game I don't play that often.
And that's why I play Star Trek Online.
Is that still
free?
I bought Star Trek Online when it first came out, and I got in on the free for life thing.
I paid for the
lifetime subscriber membership for that.
The best thing is you probably have 1 million credits, because each month you get a 400 or 500 credit stipend for having a lifetime subscription.
I'll have to look on that. I remember I loved the ship combat. Best ship combat I ever played in a Star Trek game.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that part of it, but I did not like the away missions. The away mission part of it never really kind of hit for me.
It's been tweaked and fixed, so it's better.
Mm-hmm.
And the ship combat has even become a little bit better as well. So I would recommend that you download it again and start playing again, because I log on every day and play my daily mission and do my little challenges or whatnot as best I can with at least one of my characters.
I might have to check that out, especially since I paid for the unlimited way back when. Might as well use it.
I'm telling you, you probably have 1 million cryptic points now.
I'll have to see.
You can buy every ship in the game.
I like that one. I played Old Republic. That was a fun one. That was another one I enjoyed. Yeah.
Sounds like one of them there Star Wars games.
It was, but like it was fun. I enjoyed playing older Star Wars Knights or Star Wars Old Republic. I was very disappointed to hear the remake of Old Republic has been indefinitely delayed. So that's always a game that I love going back to and replaying.
Yeah, that's one I would love the opportunity to replay. So at some point, who knows? When I have time,
But when your kids go to college?
Pretty much. So
I picked up the game City Skylines. It's back from 2015, so it's the kind of the Sim City updated with better graphics and everything. So it's just been passing some time building some cities here and there and figuring out what to do there.
Promise I'm not laughing at you, rude boy. Howard froze, so I can't see his reaction. Oh, now he's back, so I can't see his reaction. But I'm laughing because it was like the past 2 weeks we've talked about me playing City Skylines.
Oh yeah,
and you're freaking playing it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, maybe we'll have to dedicate a little more time about talking about it next episode or so, if we want to.
Or yeah. Is this thing on? Howard's like, all right, man.
That'll be the episode that Mark edits.
Yeah, Howard is just saving his voice at this point, since there's now two of you who can carry the conversation.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun if there was I'm sure there's something out there. There's a multiplayer mod. I always pick up these cheap ass 7-8-year-old games that are, well, Lawn Mowing Simulator is fairly new, but we're anticipating those multiplayer additions. Mentioning you, Halo.
Yeah, not this year.
But yeah, it's a good time. Sometimes you. Like I found I went on the Steam Workshop and had a kind of a head start where you download a save file from somebody else that had a semi pre-built city, because I have only played City Skylines on the Xbox, so the controls and everything is way different. But if you're playing on the PC, so
it is different to point and click versus move the joystick this direction or that direction.
Yeah, a little bit here and there. I mean, it obviously plays out when we compare our abilities on Call of Duty, and well, yeah, it's something I picked up recently. So once the recording is done, we'll discuss a little more detail about it. But
Yep. I'm working on getting a couple of the final special buildings, because I didn't enable all of the landmarks to be unlocked immediately.
Sure.
So, working toward a couple of those goals, so that's a pain in the ass.
But,
yeah. Did you buy some of the expansions?
Yes, I did.
The airport one, I bet. Right?
I did. Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for it to go on sale because $14 is a bit steep for me.
It is. I agree. It's something that they I saw the Steam collection. They wanted like $250 for the whole City Skyline collection with all the current DLCs, but
it's a bit much. I got it. I don't know if you got it for free, but through Epic Games, they had it for free for a while. So I played through Epic Games, and then they would have been like 3 weeks ago, ran a 50% off sale on a majority of the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up like the winter pack and the deluxe upgrade for $2, and so between $2 and $4, I think, for each of these upgrades. So a total of like $12. I picked up 5 or 6 of these different expansions and upgrades for it.
Nice.
So I'm waiting for the Aeropuerte to go El Lobo or O, so then I can pick that one up too.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to be able to design your own airport as opposed to going with the pre-cut one that they made in previous versions. But yeah, it's a fun game, and I was surprised at how quick it passes the time because you just sit there and analyze what you're doing and do a little research online, and you figure out, well, I shouldn't have been doing it that way. This way is much more efficient. And even if you try to gain some inspiration from your own hometown city of how to build something in terms of districting businesses, residential areas, industrial areas, but it's a good time. I read online that there's rumors of City Skylines 2 being announced for some time in the not too distant future, but over the past year or so, there's been rumors here and there and left and right. So it's something that if they haven't announced it yet, then it's probably at least 8 months to a year out. So my best guess.
Interesting thing that I don't know if you knew, but came from some of the other developers from, I think, France is where they were located. But 2012 and 2015, there were 2 games, Cities XL and or Cities and then Cities XL, I think is what it was. And I ended up buying both of those train wrecks of their buggy games.
Yeah.
But the base version, because the graphics and everything are phenomenal. I love how you can build the map this way in a more custom way of how you want it to look, because you can have some really cool cities that are built off of real cities.
Yeah,
lay it out how you want it, so I like that. But those old games back in 12 and 15 or 2009 or whenever the first one came out, they were super buggy, problems and downloads and this and that. And I had to rebuy the game at one point because there was some bug and it didn't recognize my game code from the first game. I'm like, this is stupid. But the new one, yeah, not too bad, especially for the price of free.
Nice.
So, can't complain about that.
Well, Kidder, it's not that we've been talking a long time. It's just late. It's like 2:30 in the morning. I need to go to bed. So I think it's time we wrap this one up with some cheap plugs.
Let's make it happen. And by making it happen, I mean visit us on Facebook. Go to Facebook and search Beer Blues and BS, or just type in facebook.com/beerbluesbs, because you'll visit us on Facebook. And if you would, it'd be awesome if you subscribed, as in liked us, please. And then, not too bad for you to click the thumbs up now and again and hit the share button because sharing is caring. Aside from that, we're online, beerbluesbs.com. Again, beerbluesbs.com. It's in the show notes, and if you're watching the video version, it's right here at the bottom of your screen, beerbluesbs.com. We have a merch store available for you 24/7, where you can get pint glasses, shirts, sweatshirts. There's even pants, towels, and pictures on there. beerbluesbs.com. Click on merch. Also, if you have an audio podcast service of choice, search for Beer Blues and BS. We're on there. Subscribe, like, and share, please and thank you. We really appreciate it if you would. We're on iHeartRadio, Pandora, TuneIn, Spotify, of course, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and much more. The full list and links to those, beerbluesbs.com. And if you have any of those services on your phone, if you have an account, if you would, open it up and search Beer, Blues, and BS. You will probably find us right there. And if you find us, please click subscribe because, again, sharing is caring. Other than that, well, we really appreciate you joining us for this episode. Make sure you join us every week right here on the show, on the audio version or the video version on YouTube. And again, search Beer, Blues, and BS. So for my cohort over there, thousands of miles away, probably, kind of, sort of, he's Howard Blues. I'm the man, the myth, legend, Mark Kidder. Appreciate you joining us for this edition of Beer, Blues, and BS. Live, loud, and on location at Paris, the Hilton Grand Vacations and Bally's Resort. Remember, please keep your glass at least half full. There's free beer tomorrow, and we will catch you on down the old intergalactic Tuscan Highway. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and join us again next time on Beer, Blues, and BS.
You have been listening to a UA production of Beer, Blues, and BS. If you enjoyed the show, help others find out about it by rating the show or leaving a review at your podcast listening service of choice. Thanks for listening, and may your glass never be empty. UA Productions presents A Glimpse Behind the Curtain.
I see in the the rundown that it does not have your guest from earlier.
That's because that will be episode 76. You'll just have to wait till episode 76 to find out who it was.
Okay. Just what I need. Extra secrecy in this show. Because nobody knows what the hell's going on. Wait, Future Howard knows what's going on. Future Howard always knows what's going on.
Yep.
Tip of the cap to Future Howard.
Yeah. Future Howard had a good one. I know you've been busy at the con, so you haven't the episode that came out tonight, but there be some awesome trolling going on.
Oh, I'm sure. Wouldn't be an episode without Future Howard and trolling.
Yeah. Well, especially because that was the one with Big D. And Big D may have taken a shot at Future Howard at one point, so there may have been some revenge.